Hi everyone, I'm Miu from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a apple cat bag from the cute cat crossbody bag. This bag is divided into the main part: feet, strap, head, and decorations. The main part consists of the body, lining, and magnetic clasps. Let's start with the body. We will start from foundation chain, crocheting in rounds counterclockwise along the starting chain. Now let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number indicates the round number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitch techniques needed for crocheting that specific round, including increases and decreases. The total stitches column shows the total number of stitches after completing all the stitches for that round. The stitches used include CH, chain, TV, half double crochet increase, T half double crochet, TW, half double crochet 3 in 1, Ta, half double crochet decrease, and slip stitch. Now watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The yarn used here is special, with longer fibers. If you can't see the stitches clearly, you can first learn the crocheting method, and then use the original yarn for crocheting. You can also practice with yarn that's easier to watch. Here I'm using the original yarn for demonstration. Colors are random for specific yarn, color schemes and hook sizes. Please refer to the detail page of our product and paper instructions. First, let's cast on. Hang the yarn on your left hand. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Pay attention to the hook size. Make a knot with the crochet hook. The starting knot doesn't count as one stitch. Adjust the size properly. Then crochet 27 chain stitches. Crochet 1 stitch first. After finishing here, you can feel it. There will be a small dent underneath. The small hole is the chain stitch position. Continue crocheting 26 chain stitches downward. After completing, feel along the chain stitches continuously. There's a small bump between these two chain stitches. The dent position is the chain stitch position. Check the stitch count here. Just feel the dent positions. The number of dents indicates how many chain stitches you've crocheted. The number of dents shows how many chain stitches you've made. We're at the last chain stitch position. It's the first dent below the loops on the hook. Pick up the two right strands, and place a stitch marker to mark. You can feel it. Only one strand remains on the left side. If you do not know where the very first stitch is, just place the marker directly into the hole. This completes the starting chain. Move on to the first round. The chart reads, Deck 3, TV, 23T, 5T, 23T, TW. This means starting from the third stitch from the end. Work the corresponding stitch patterns in order. First, find the position of the third stitch from the end. Starting from the marked chain stitch. Feel down for the small dent. Continue feeling until you reach the third dent. This is the position of the third stitch from the end. Insert the hook into the small dent. Work 1/2 double crochet increase, which means working 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. Before crocheting, let's mark it first. Pick up the entire loop below the hook and place a stitch marker. Do not include the yarn being crocheted in the marker. Pay attention that the loop on the hook should not be too large. While crocheting, you can feel as you go. Yarn over. Insert into the third chain stitch. Pick up approximately 1 strand from above. Draw the yarn through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops in once. Complete 1/2 double crochet. At this point, you can feel it. The marker spot is the stitch of the half double crochet. There will also be a small dent. The firm part is the stitch column of the half double crochet. This is the first stitch of this round. Place a marker below the insertion point. You can also feel it. Convenient for finding the insertion point at the ending. The spot marked by the marker in front. These 2 chain stitches do not count as one stitch, and are not included in the total stitch count. Continue downward in the same insertion position. Work 1/2 double crochet. Here you can feel the stitch column of the previous stitch. To find its insertion point, note that due to the large number of stitches, markers may not be sufficient to mark every single stitch. You can mark every 5 or 10 stitches. This makes it easier to find the insertion point for the next row. For the swatch, mark every 5 stitches. The half double crochet increase is completed. Next, continue to pick up the adjacent chain stitch, and work 1/2 double crochet. You can feel the stitch column of the previous stitch, then find its insertion point. Move left to find the adjacent dent. Correspondingly work 1/2 double crochet. Repeat this process. Work 2 more half double crochets. When inserting the hook, make sure to determine the correct position. The 5th stitch is completed. Continue to pick up the adjacent chain stitch, and correspondingly work a half double crochet. Pay attention to marking before crocheting. Similarly, place a stitch marker through the entire loop below the hook. After completion, the marker position corresponds to the stitch position. This is also the 6th stitch. There should be 4 stitches between the two markers. You can feel it. Each stitch forms a braid-like texture with 2 strands of yarn. A dent forms below the braid. Always check and verify as you go. Continue downward using the same method. Crochet the remaining half double crochets. Remember to mark every 5 stitches. Don't twist the foundation chain below. After completion, there's 1 chain space left below. Place a marker at the insertion point of the last half double crochet. Mark with a stitch marker. In the last chain stitch, crochet 5 half double crochets. Note that this stitch needs to be marked perfectly. Now you've reached the other side of the starting point. Insert the hook into the previously marked insertion point. Work a half double crochet. Mark the stitch position. Weave in the yarn tails as you go along. Remove the stitch marker. Pick up the insertion points of the previous half double crochets in sequence. The other 2 strands of the remaining chain, correspondingly make a half double crochet. You can do it the same way as before. Feel the post of the previous stitch. Find its insertion point. Then insert the hook into the hole on the left side and crochet. After completing 23 half double crochets, the left side is perfectly at the stitch marker position. Work a half double crochet 3-in-1 at this marked insertion point. That is, make 3 half double crochets into the same stitch. The half double crochet 3-in-1 is done. Now we can check the stitch count. Except for the starting chain position. Each stitch marker position counts as 1 stitch. There should be 4 stitches between stitch markers. Count up to before the last stitch marker. It should be 55 stitches. Add the last stitch marker. It becomes 56 stitches. This matches the stitch count on the chart. Next, at the stitch marker position on the starting chain, work 1 slip stitch. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. When crocheting in rounds, the end always joins with a slip stitch to the beginning position. The joining slip stitch doesn't count as 1 stitch. Tighten it to prevent extra stitches later. This completes the first round. We'll consider the side facing you as the right side of the piece. Place a stitch marker at the starting chain to mark the position. Move on to round 2. R2 is 2CH, 27T, TW, X2. Here 2CH is the beginning chain. The stitches in parentheses form a group. X number indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. Start with 2 chain stitches. Pick up 2 strands on the top chain to mark. You can move the stitch marker from the starting chain up. For the body section, always start with 2 chain stitches. And it doesn't count as 1 stitch. No more reminders from now on. This beginning chain corresponds to the beginning chain of round 1. Start from the first stitch on the left side. Pick up stitches to correspondingly make 27 half double crochets. Pay attention to marking before making the first stitch. Insert the hook into the stitch position, marked by the stitch marker to crochet. Complete the first stitch. You can remove the stitch marker below. Continue crocheting. For positions without stitch markers, you can feel the stitches. First, feel the previous crocheted posts. Find their insertion points. Move left to the next stitch position. Pick up both strands of the stitch to crochet. You can continue marking every 5 stitches using the same method. Once you're comfortable crocheting, you can mark only the beginning chains, the first and last stitches. Everyone can mark according to their own habits. After completing, work 1/2 double crochet 3 in 1. This first group, 27T, TW, is completed. Continue crocheting the remaining group. After completion, remember to check the stitch count. The last section here perfectly has 5 stitches. If you want to mark the last stitch, when checking the stitch count, be mindful not to count incorrectly. The total stitches for each round are indicated in the chart. We won't repeat this reminder later. Finally, join with a slip stitch at the position marked by the stitch marker on the beginning chain. Tighten. The second round is complete. Move on to round 3. Chain 2 as beginning chain. Then work even, picking up stitches for half double crochets, that is, one stitch to another. For the sample swatch, we won't mark the middle section here. Choose according to your own situation. Finish with a slip stitch on the beginning chain. The third round is complete. Work even. The fabric naturally curls. Turn the right side out. Rounds 4 through 12. Follow the same crochet method as round 3. Measure the width and height of the bag body while crocheting. Compare with the dimensions given in the pattern. If the width differs significantly, adjust your tension and recrochet. Adjust the height as you crochet. Adjust your tension to ensure the final height matches the expected measurement. Complete it. Note that if the yarn tail becomes too short during the process, and you need to join yarn, you can use an incomplete half double crochet to join the yarn. I'll demonstrate this method using a swatch. In practice, you can leave a longer yarn tail. Yarn over. Insert into the corresponding stitch. Yarn over and pull through. This is an incomplete half double crochet. Pick up the new yarn. Leave a longer yarn tail. Yarn over once, and pull through the loops on the hook. Adjust slightly. Complete the half double crochet, and the yarn joining is done. Tie a knot with these two yarn tails to secure them temporarily. While crocheting later, weave the ends in as you go. This is the method for joining yarn. Next, I'll teach you how to count rounds. First, find the starting point. That's the marked position for the right and wrong sides. The obvious hole at the very bottom. Feel along from this hole to one side. There will be a hole between every two stitch posts. Each round will have such holes. This swatch has 5 rounds crocheted here. You can feel 5 rounds of these holes. Determine the number of rounds using this method. Now crochet round 13. Chain 2 to begin. Then work 3 half double crochets corresponding to the first stitch. Half double crochet 3 stitches together. First make 3 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over. Insert into the adjacent stitch. Draw the yarn through. First stitch completed. Continue with 2 more stitches. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Half double crochet 3 stitches together completed. The braid on the upper right is the stitch. Continue with the corresponding number of half double crochets. After completing, work 1 half double crochet, 3 stitches together. First make 3 incomplete half double crochets. One, 2, 3. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Half double crochet 3 stitches together completed. Continue with the corresponding half double crochets. Check the stitch count after completion. Pay attention to the position of the half double crochet, 3 stitches together. 3 stitch posts merged into 1 stitch. Don't miscount. Finally, join with a slip stitch on the beginning chain. Round 13 completed. Finally, work round 14. Chain 2 as beginning chain. Work 1 half double crochet. One half double crochet decrease. First, correspondingly make 2 incomplete half double crochets. Finally, yarn over and draw through in once. Half double crochet decrease completed. Continue with 1 half double crochet. 1 half double crochet decrease. First, work 2 incomplete half double crochets. Finally, yarn over and draw through in once. Half double crochet decrease completed. Continue to crochet following the chart. Join with a slip stitch to finish. Round 14 completed. Confirm the size fits properly. Cut the yarn. Chain 1 to secure. Stretch the loop. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail and cut off. Pull tight. Stitch markers can be removed. On the wrong side, hide along the texture. You can weave in a few more stitches. That's the end of the bag body explanation. Next, sew the lining. Take out the lining fabric. Fold along the long edge. Place the bag body on top. Match the starting point with the folding point. Then draw marked lines along the edge. Note, use a pencil for drawing here, to prevent staining the bag body. Finish and trim slightly. Then cut about 3 mm outside the marked lines. The lining is now cut out. Take out the sewing thread. Insert the thin needle. Fold the yarn end in half and tie a knot. First, sew one side edge. Here, baste about 2 mm inside the marked lines. Keep the insertion points as fine as possible. Make sure the edges are perfectly aligned. Tie a knot and cut the yarn. Sew the other side using the same method. Complete this part. Finally, place the lining with the sewing marks against the inner side of the bag body. Align the openings. Fold the lining outward slightly. Match it with the bottom of the last round of stitches on the bag opening. Make sure the bottom is perfectly aligned, and tidy up. Continue taking the yarn. Sew along the opening edge of the lining. First secure both ends and the middle of the sides with yarn. To prevent sewing crooked, pay attention to match the lining seam with the corners of the bag body. Once secured well, start sewing properly now. Sew along the folded edge of the lining to the bag body. When inserting the needle into the bag body, don't skip any stitches. Mindful to insert the hook below the V-shaped loops of the stitches. Make sure to pick up the yarn. Adjust the position while sewing. Don't sew crooked. Keep the front side free of visible stitches. Repeat this process for one full round. Finally, tie off and weave in the ends neatly. The securing threads can be removed. This completes the sewing method for the lining. Lastly, attach the magnetic clasps. At the middle position of the lining edge, secure a pair of magnetic clasps. Here I'll demonstrate using the female part as an example. Take the yarn as before. Position it centered. Secure all 4 corners. While sewing, make sure to secure it to the bag body. This makes it more secure. Finally, tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Sew the other male part symmetrically on the opposite side. Pay attention that the position must be centered. Complete it. That concludes the demonstration on sewing magnetic clasps. The main part is also completed.